It's feel-good podcasting in your ear. You're listening to the Brian McDaniel Podcast, exclusively on the Digital Podcast Network. And now, here he is, Mr. Cutie, Brian McDaniel.
Hello. I'm your host, Brian McDaniel. Thank you for joining us today. I'm here with my co-host, Vanessa Garcia. Vanessa, say hello.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, and Natalie Holmes. How you doing, Natalie?
Bonjour.
Yeah, I love it. You guys, today we're going to talk about first loves. Yes, not your middle school weird crushes.
Okay.
I'm talking about the things you love to do, what you could do for a week, and someone would have to come to you at the end of the day on Friday and be like, nope, that's it. You got to go back to your real life. What could you do that just fascinates you, that gets your juices flowing, that gets your energies going? For me, it would be the beach. It would absolutely be the beach. I love going to the beach. I love being in the ocean. I love being exhausted at the end of the day from doing things that I love to do, from surfing, from being in the water, running around in the sand, all that kind of thing. I got a chance to do it once. I went to a surf camp in the Dominican Republic one time for an entire week. My wife and I went, and I got up at the crack of dawn every morning, and she slept in and got massages.
Of course,
because that's how you do. And I got up and surfed every morning, surfed every afternoon. It was an amazing trip. It was in the Dominican Republic.
Wow.
Yeah, which is not as much of the tourist destination currently as it maybe was 5 or 6 years ago. Obviously, they've had some issues there.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Not only did I go to the Dominican Republic and surf all week, we went out to dinner one night with a whole group of us from this camp, and I was like, let's get some appetizers. Let's get started with some food, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, let's order some carpaccio.
Okay.
Love carpaccio.
Vanessa, you know what that is.
Love carpaccio.
Everybody, do you know what that is, Natalie?
I've had it, but honestly, no.
It's raw meat.
It's raw meat.
It's beef, right?
It's raw beef. Yeah, and I was like, oh, that sounds delicious, right?
Surf camp and raw beef.
And raw beef. I'm super excited. We order this for the table. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm totally on board. They bring it out, and everyone's like, wait a second. That meat's not cooked? And I ate the entire plate of carpaccio myself.
If you weren't married, you would already have my heart.
Did you wait 30 minutes before you got back in the water?
Well, it was nighttime, so I didn't have to wait. But yes, that's a good note.
I have several questions about surf camp
in
general.
Okay.
Like, I'm not familiar with this term. You just sounds like surfing.
Yeah, well, it is just like surfing.
And bunk beds.
You know what? For most of the people there, it was bunk beds. But I brought my lady friend, my wife, and so we got a real room with a large bed. But yeah, like a lot people came from all over the world sleeping in bunk beds because this is a thing that they're passionate about, and they know that the waves are great there. And if you say, hey, I'm going on vacation to the beach, then you end up getting pulled in 20 different ways. But if you say I'm going to surf camp, then you have no excuse other than to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and get in a rickety bus over a bumpy road and get your butt to the beach and on a board.
You got one job.
Yeah, you got one job.
You said rickety.
Yeah.
Brian, you're like a 12-year-old.
And well, hey, you know what? When it comes to your passion, that's how it makes you feel.
That's right.
That's how it makes you feel.
That's right.
Very true.
And so, jumping off from that carpaccio situation.
The raw beef.
You got to know your own stomach, right? Like, if you can handle it, you can handle it. And to me, food delicacy is definitely the way to go. Although, I say delicacy. The place where we ate it had a straw roof, and it was great. It was fantastic.
That's where you get the best food there.
Yeah.
Little holes in the walls all over the world.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I left for Gua, and it was illegal here in the States for a few. That's when I wanted it the most, right?
You always want what you can't have. Always. So, Vanessa, how about you? What would you do for a week?
I love cooking.
Yeah?
I love cooking so much.
Just slicing raw beef and not cooking it? Putting it a little vinegar on it? Oil? No?
Excuse me. My cooking skills go far beyond that. Thank you very much.
All right. Let's hear it. What's the best? What's your favorite thing to cook?
I cook a bunch of stuff. By that, I love turning on Frank Sinatra. I love singers and standards. I love turning on candles. And then it's a ritual for me. So I'll cook.
Nice.
I'll have whole raw whole chickens, and I'll stuff them with all types of vegetables, and I go to the farmer's market and I'll tie the legs up with actual string, and it takes me to a very 1950s kind of simplistic place. Mashed potatoes I'll cook. I'm Mexican and Filipino.
Okay.
And both my grandmothers are alive, so they both taught me how to cook in the kitchen.
All right.
I'll cook lumpias, Filipino style. They're like egg rolls, but lumpias, sinigang, adobo. On my Mexican side, I'll cook enchiladas, tacos, stuffed peppers.
Okay, so what's the one, though? If you had to cook just one thing.
I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
I'm a little hungry myself.
Yeah. Well, fortunately for you guys, we have some raw beef in studio today.
With a little straw on top.
Live your best life.
No, but what would be the number one? What would be your absolute favorite thing to cook if the Sinatra came on for you and the candles were lit and you didn't have to do any of the prep, you were just in the zone to cook your number one thing? What would it be?
I would cook lumpias.
Okay.
I would cook Filipino lumpias.
Okay.
Just because they remind me of my grandmother. Everyone loves them.
Okay.
They're egg rolls, but they're Filipino egg rolls.
Okay.
And they're just, if you really want someone to fall in love with you,
yes,
you bust out these skills.
Okay.
I never bust them out, though, because that's why I'm single.
they need to be worthy.
Cough, single, cough. Hey, there you go. I like that. It's not on her. It's on the men. That's right, Natalie. The men are not worthy of her cooking skills. I like it.
That is right.
That's right. Okay. That wasn't primal or anything, that scream.
Does anyone want some raw beef right now?
And now I have a question for you because I have heard that in the mating process that seafood has aphrodisiac properties.
Stop.
Yeah.
They say that about oysters.
They say that about oysters, but also I think generally about,
seafood?
Specifically oysters, but definitely there's something.
Clams. Something real sexy about clams.
Something real sexy about, yes. I think.
I am not cooking clams or oyster or raw beef for anybody these days, so we're going to leave it at that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll probably, shrimp, does shrimp have aphrodisiacs?
I don't know about shrimp specifically.
I don't either.
Is there a shrimp dish you cook?
Yeah, I can cook it's like a fettuccine, but it's pancit. It's
okay.
There's
it's got
noodles,
a good name.
It has a wonderful name. It's Filipino. There's shrimp. There's celery. There's carrots. There's these beautiful rice noodles, and then you put soy sauce and sautéed in a pan with a beautiful cup of fresh white rice that steams up.
Right.
It's gorgeous. And
I think people are falling in love right now.
Yeah,
I think it's working.
I don't know if me and Vanessa are compatible romantically, but I would like to try to woo you for a meal.
That
sounds
my
incredible.
cooking skills are so amazing, but
Yeah.
I have to be careful who I use them for.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But
with
I'm
great
single.
power comes with great responsibility. Yes. Yes.
But
yes.
I'm single, so who knows? Maybe my cooking's not that great.
Hey, that's right. You know your limits. You're not going to be irresponsible with it. I love it.
That's
I
right.
love it. Natalie, how about you? What would you do for a week if you could do something that was just
Brian.
a passion? that
Thank you for
just loved?
asking.
Yes.
I gave this a lot of thought. And so my first instinct, I love collaging.
Okay.
It's like a lifelong thing. Probably started from a bad place of cutting stuff up that I wasn't supposed to.
Okay.
But I love to get old books, like from an old bookstore, and look through the fabulous pictures and chop them up and then sort of make little collage-y things.
Okay.
Yeah, and so if I could do that for a week, and I'm with you, Vanessa, like give me some old crooners, give me some 60s jams, and let me just sit there and create little art pieces.
Okay, now I have a question for you because I feel like a lot of art is cathartic. Do you feel like it's the end product or the process? What is more important about that for you in the collage?
That is a good question. I think it's the process.
Yeah.
It's always I love peeling pomegranates because you have to be so delicate and take your time. And I think it's the same thing with collage. I'm trying to relate to your food, Vanessa. We're dating.
I love you, Natalie.
I'm trying. I like the process of cutting up the pictures and figuring out what works together. And I would like to do a space theme something, or maybe like an old Hollywood theme. Like, pick a theme, some colors, and stick to it.
And just let loose. Let your brain go and get in that zone.
Get in that zone.
Yeah, that is the best feeling on earth. Thank you guys for sharing your first loves with me. When we come back, we are going to have a new guest. Not my first love, but I do love him. He's a great guy. When we come back on The Brian McDaniel Show.
This is the story of a man who had a dream. And one day, that dream turned into...
Yo, what's going on? Dean Edwards got a new show?
Yo, what's poppin'? It's your man Dean Edwards. Guess what? You remember me from Saturday Night Live, you remember me from MTV's Guy Code, but now you're gonna remember me from the Dean Edwards Show on the Digital Podcast Network.
I don't listen to a lot of things, but I listen to my man Dean Edwards on the Digital Podcast Network. He got his own show.
It's all Dean, it's all love. It's all going down on the Digital Podcast Network. Visit digitalpodcastnetwork.com.
Buenas, Jael DePardo here. Want to hear this Colombiana speak her mind? Then check out the Latin Dish podcast exclusively on Digital Podcast Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the show today. Also, my wonderful co-host, Vanessa. Say hello.
Hi.
Yeah. Natalie.
I'm back.
She's back. And we have our guest in studio now, Justin Foster.
Hey.
Yeah,
how
thank
are
you for
ya?
coming through. Fantastic
Thanks for having me.
comedian.
Thank you.
Justin, I saw you yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I stopped by your birthday party.
You did.
Yeah.
That was very sweet. Thank you. And you brought my favorite book, which is so weird to me.
Yeah, really?
Did you just randomly pick that book?
I did randomly pick that book. You know what? You want to know something? I checked in with some of your other friends who might know your library a little bit better and asked them about whether you had certain comic books, because I know you're a huge comic book fan.
Yes,
I was going to get you a hardback comic book.
Sure.
You are a 12-year-old boy.
I am a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I want people to have things they love in their life.
I respect it.
And nobody replied.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I texted your friends. None of them got back to me.
That
I was
makes
like, does
sense.
he have this one? Does he have that one? Nothing. Crickets all the way through. And then I was like, you know what? I love this book. It's about music and you know, it can dig into the psyche quite a bit. Chuck Klosterman.
It was very weird. You said I wasn't your first love, but I feel like you might be mine. So thanks for the gift. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was only able to briefly stop by the party, which I felt bad about. Listen, this was a difficult situation for me because I've been traveling, performing all weekend. I come back on Sunday. You're having your birthday Sunday in the afternoon, and I haven't seen my family in 4 days.
Right.
Lucky you.
Yeah, right. So I text my wife and I'm like, hey, I got to stop on the way home.
She's like, what?
Yeah, exactly. So from your side, I was there for 90 seconds, and from her side, I did something besides come directly home
Straight
from
home,
the
yeah.
airport.
Yeah,
so I lost all the way around.
Right. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm old. It was done by 7:01, and I couldn't have been happier. I was in bed by 8. It was beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's like, this is the best. I got my tab, and it was a one pizza and a glass of milk, and I was like, yeah, I'm all right with this.
Oh my God, it happens in your 30s.
I'm good with this.
Yeah. So that takes me to my next question. Pizza, is that the number one? Is that if you were going to do something for a week, would it just be plow through pizza?
No, God, no. Pizza's a treat for me.
Okay.
I'll do it every now and then because
right.
It's so good and delicious. If I eat it whenever I want it, they would have to be 2 chairs for me right now.
Yeah.
Because I just love. I have to be very strict about what I eat because I'm kind of a skinny guy, but
Yeah. You
might,
look good.
Thank you very much.
Are
Brian,
you single?
Brian might not be my first love anymore. How you doing? So yeah. Anyways,
She can cook. Did you notice?
I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. I was falling in love in the green room. So.
I'm single.
Oh yeah.
Keep going.
Okay, this is the matchmaking show with Brian McDaniel.
Feel good podcast.
I think his hat is my first love. You can't see it, but Justin's wearing this really sweet hat, and I think that's my new first love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank
holler.
you. As someone who has a nice head game, I appreciate. Well, I probably shouldn't say that.
Whoa.
Attire.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a wrap around my head, and it's very appropriate
It's very
for
nice.
podcasting.
Yeah,
very nice.
Natalie looks gorgeous. You both look really great.
Oh, I showered for the podcast.
Smell good.
That's how much I care for Brian.
That
Thank
actually
you.
wasn't necessary.
I know.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, don't
Speak
have
for
to do
yourself.
that.
You don't have to shower here.
I'll know that now. Next time I come back, I'll just roll in.
Just spritz yourself.
Absolutely. So you started comedy. You're a comedian. You started comedy
Yeah.
in Texas.
I did.
Yeah?
I did.
What was that like?
It was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah. I couldn't imagine starting anywhere else. Like
Okay.
I talked to comics that start out here, and it's like the comedy scene out here is very difficult. It's like a grind.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize we had it. I mean, our open mics had 60 audience members.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
it was bananas.
Yeah.
My first show was an open mic at the Improv, and there was like 60, 70 people there.
Get out. Were
Yeah.
they all comics or were they
No,
there?
just regular people.
You
So
get like
you're Houston?
I'm Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
from Austin.
Oh, nice. There you
Cool.
go. All
Yeah,
right.
I was about to bring that up. So, Justin, you left Texas. You came to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that about? Was there a nudge? Was there a specific push?
Breakup.
Wow.
You ever get so dumped so bad you got to leave the state?
Yes.
I was like, West Coast sounds good.
Nice.
I had some friends that had moved out here, some comedian friends of mine, and they moved out here and they were doing pretty well. And it looked fun, and I had no more ties to Texas, so I packed up my Honda Civic and drove out here, and I've been out here ever since. It's been about 8 years.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you got to make some good connections with some bigger comedians there in Texas. Tell me about that.
It was nice because as a local guy in town, you get to open and feature, because there's not a lot here there's 1,000 comedians. There's like 10, right? So there's a list when every comedian comes to town of the 10 comics who gets to work. So my first 2 years, I was opening for like Bill Burr and Daniel Tosh and Jeff Dunham, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I took all that for granted. I was like, oh, comedy's easy. And then you move out here, and it's like, you want to perform at a coffee shop at 4 p.m.? You know? But it was nice because I got out here and they had oh yeah, you were the dude. I was like, I would pick them up from the airport. I would drive them to radio. Like, I was very proactive and like, not in like a networky schmoozy way. I just loved comedy and I wanted to like pick their brain and stuff. So
that's smart.
Yeah. So we would go to breakfast after the radio and drive around and go for drinks after and all that stuff. So when I moved out here, it was like a lot of the bigger name comics be like, oh yeah, Justin, I remember, Right. So hey, come do this show or come do this spot or, whatever. So it's a little bit easier kind of already being juiced in, but it was bananas. I mean, my very first guest set was with Joey Diaz.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I brought my entire family.
Oh my God.
It was great. It was awesome.
Yeah. Joey Diaz is extremely dirty. So
Joey.
It's so funny. But just to watch my grandmother watch his set was the highlight of my life. It was awesome. But so it was a little bit easier for me when I came out here because I was already kind of dialed in with comedy and some of the people.
Yeah.
Okay.
You already done the legwork.
Yeah. I was grinding for a long time out there. There was a lot of clubs, a lot of bars, and it's like the South. So we would drive to Austin, Houston, New Orleans, Oklahoma, Kansas, like wherever my car would go, like I would go.
Right, and then you get a whole weekend's worth of work out of it, or long sets. It's just a lot different than Los Angeles.
Exactly.
Now, something else that's different than Los Angeles, you said you came off a breakup to move here. How's the relationship scene been in Los Angeles? It gets rave reviews. Everyone just loves it.
I don't know. Everyone says that. I don't know. It's pretty easy, to be honest with you.
Get out.
I'm serious. Like, I don't understand what's wrong with, like, I get it, like,
you're just going around eating food with beautiful women.
Yeah.
Keeping it light.
You know what I mean? There's 1,000 coffee shops, right? It's like, I don't know. Like, I'm really good at dating. So
you're really good at
I'm very handsome, and so
tell more.
I will eat anything that y'all cook for me, and I don't know. It's the only thing here that I think is hard is the scheduling, right? Because everyone's kind of doing their own thing and like out for themselves. So it's like, okay, we can grab brunch on Sunday from 11 to 11:45.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Unless you get an audition, I think scheduling is the only issue here, but like meeting people and like quality, like awesome people, it's like pretty easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like dating in the South, you meet someone, they're like, I want kids and a family tomorrow. You're like, okay, hold on.
Right.
It's so funny.
Here it's like, I'm just trying to find my passion. Like, all right, cool.
And then I'm freezing my eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
Go on a coffee date.
Yeah. Tell me about your energy.
Well, what's funny is my wife met me a month after she moved to Los Angeles.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well played.
Yeah. My struggles
for him.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I spent years floundering in the LA dating market before she came here, and she found
floundering.
Me. Yeah. No, it did not. I was young and I didn't have any money, and I was very serious. This is a terrible combination.
Oh yeah, broke and serious. Women love that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a disaster. But something was just kinetic. Something was magic when my wife and I met each other, and yeah.
Is that real? Is it like when you meet someone? Do you know? Like, I'm still waiting for that feeling.
Yeah. Well, Justin said he felt it when he walked in the studio. So,
Justin, is this true?
This is absolutely true.
What are some of your quality traits that you look for in women?
Honesty, first and foremost, honesty. Sense of humor.
Okay.
Like that's got to be like you can't be.
Take some notes.
You can't be broke. You can't be broke and serious. You can be broke and charming all day for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love women that can banter, like, and they're funny and can give it back. Because I'm very sarcastic, and I don't know. I've been on dates with, and I've said something, and I've had women be like, "Wait, what?"
And you just get the blinks.
Right, yes. And you never want to be like, sorry, that was a joke. You know,
right.
Someone who can yes and.
Yeah.
And horrible gambling addiction is a plus. I really like that.
Okay. Addictions. Cool.
Poker.
I got some of that.
That was a joke for the blinkers out there.
Just joke.
They're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
No, but my wife and I, when we met each other, one of our first dates, she actually did cook for me.
Wow.
See?
Yeah.
Which date was it?
I think it was
Like first 3?
No, first it was the third, right?
The third date.
Because you don't want to go
Maybe.
back to the house on the first.
right.
No.
So
Right.
so
I
to
agree.
put
Good
it in
job, Justin.
perspective,
Justin wants to.
yeah,
I would, but Brian, he was very serious.
No, yeah. It took me a while to actually pull off a date with her. The very first time I met her was in a karaoke room in downtown in Little Tokyo. Not a karaoke bar, a karaoke room.
What's the difference?
So karaoke bar is a bar that is having karaoke. It's a large open space with a lot of people drinking. A karaoke room is like, do you ever see the movie Lost in Translation? It fits about 10 people tops. It is a small room.
Yeah.
You rent it out
Yeah.
by the hour. It's obviously it's big in Tokyo. It's large in Asian culture. That's why it's in Little Tokyo here in Los Angeles. I was there for a birthday party. There were 5 or 6 people in the room. I was wearing leather pants.
Yes.
I was singing "Welcome to the Jungle."
Stop.
She walked in the room, and I was like, "This is it. My life has come to fruition. Like it doesn't get any better."
So you were on stage when she walked in?
I was on stage when she walked in.
Just like shana na 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 me.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love Led Zeppelin.
Welcome to the jungle.
And was she like yeah, that's the guy, or was she like,
No.
who is I was about to say,
Why
No.
would she say that?
who's
No.
this guy?
I mean, I'm on stage. I think I'm a rock star. This beautiful woman walks in. I'm like, everything is going to work out perfectly. And then she's like, that guy's kind of odd. I don't know if he's into me. And
Leather pants.
Well, I don't know. I was actually wearing leather pants as a favor to another friend. It was her birthday, and she was like, I want you to wear the leather pants for my birthday.
So the story gets thicker. The
Yeah,
story
yeah.
gets...
This is complicated.
There was a
but
lot
sexy.
going on.
She wanted you to wear leather pants.
Yeah, well, who doesn't? Okay, that's.
Was it a themed party, or you were the only person given a clothing assignment? I'm just curious. I'm trying to figure out how invested this leather pants situation
Like I said,
why you're looking
good
for your
one.
future wife.
Yeah.
Get him,
I was
Natalie. Get
broke.
'em.
I was broke, and I was serious. And I think it was an attempt to have me take myself a little bit less seriously.
Okay,
So
that's funny.
I was the only one wearing something ridiculous.
Okay.
Yes, that is the answer to your question.
It's beautiful.
Justin, I have a question for you.
Yes.
When you do comedy, have any women dated you just because you were a comic? How does that go down?
Just because?
Or
No.
were they like, oh, say something funny?
No, a lot of times it's almost like you don't really want to say it sometimes.
Right.
Because,
Do you woo them when you say, come to my show?
yeah, they love that.
Do they really?
Yeah. I can get you tickets to the...
Do they come see you and they're like, I know him. That's the guy I'm gonna
That's
say.
the guy I met. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
I'm on a date with him while he's on stage. Look
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's how I just fill out my comedy shows. I just invite a bunch of women. They're like, man, Justin brings a lot of people.
at him. Tinder, swipe
right, swipe right.
That's genius.
Meet me at the Improv.
Come see stage 2.
We are cracking mysteries over here. I love it.
I think once. I don't know. I'm a pretty funny guy, so I think once they come to the show, it's
Right.
kind of like, oh, okay, all right, like. Because
Right, that helps you overcome your other physical limitations.
Of course, right, yes.
Stop it.
Being hideously ugly.
He's
no.
got dimples. His beard is perfectly
Thank you very much.
You
I
have
do
a
it
nice
myself.
paperboy hat
Oh my God,
on,
stop it. Come
your
on.
classic gray
Come on.
fitted
Telling you.
t-shirt and
I'm
classic stonewashed
All this
jeans.
jokes.
Okay,
too.
guys.
Right, can you leave? Can you can you
Do
go
you
to
want
Little
me to cook for
Tokyo?
you? Are you hungry?
I'm starved. I'm always hungry. Look at me. But I've had girls come to my shows before and be like, "Oh, thank God you were funny," like because they're like, "There's a lot of comedians out here, right?" And everyone's invited. Come see me perform. And like, I don't know if you weren't good. I think that would be pretty. If you're like in the audience, like, "Oh, this guy sucks."
So many of my male comic friends invite a bunch of girls, and they are just like, they're just perverts.
I just
love
don't
them,
understand the logic. I don't understand the
girls?
logic of bringing
The
like
men.
multiple women to your show because
Smart.
we see that there's also multiple other women here that were invited. So like,
well, speaking of that, there is a fantastic story about multiple women. And I think this is a great way to cap off our show today. There's a story about Le'Veon Bell. He's an NFL running back, and he had 2 girlfriends, and they did not know about each other. This was not an open relationship, and they found out about each other. And they were very upset, and they had access to his condo. So they went to his condo, robbed Le'Veon Bell of $500,000 worth of money and jewelry, including his Black Panther diamond pendant.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, which is a lesson for us guys, right? Never leave the house without your Black Panther diamond pendant.
Mine's in the car right now.
Always take it with you. No, be honest with your women. Justin's first rule of relationships, that is his number one characteristic, is honesty. That is what he's looking for out of a woman. And I think you have wooed my co-host. I think they might just take off for the rest of the day.
I mean, look at the dimples on his face.
I'm blushing right now.
Smile.
Yeah, go see his comedy. You will see the dimples too. You can have the entire experience. Make sure you check out Justin Foster. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today, Justin. It is absolutely a pleasure to see you live on stage. How can people get information about that? How can people find you?
You can find me at Justin Comic on Instagram and Twitter. And then my YouTube is The Justin Foster.
Beautiful. Yeah. And it's very funny. You can see me making random appearances on there.
Absolutely.
It is a great thing to check out some comedy. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the Brian McDaniel Show.
Thanks, Justin.
Yes.
We appreciate
you right now.
Give me that hat.
Yes.
All right.
In the magic words of Maya Angelou, we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. And make sure you join us on the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.